Hello, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much being joining us. I'm so happy that we have a chance to get together to learn about triglyceride because triglyceride, to be honest, is a very important subject and will be really help to better understand why you have to pay attention to triglyceride. So today, our seminar will be very, in a way, is quite educational, and it will help you to have a better grasp of how you're gonna get less triglyceride, and then in terms of you could able to be much healthier. Because I don't think people are talking about that. Hi， 各位朋友，我係 Angela Lowsutea President， 你好。好高興咧，今日又有 get together 啦。今日哇，好多人嚟喎。今日有啲人喺菲律賓啦，喺夏威夷啦，喺羅省啦，有香港啦，有馬來西亞啦。哇 ，a lot of people. So it's really nice. So it's really nice. By the way, I just want to introduce myself for some of the new people who might not know me. I'm Angela, I'm Lowsutea President. And basically today we have a lot of different people come from various Hawaii, Honolulu, Los Angeles, California, Vancouver. We have also from people from Hong Kong, Philippines, and Malaysia and Singapore, Indonesia. Wow, there's a lot of different people. Yes, very good. So we will start up the webinar now. Okay, good morning, Edwina. Thank you very much. And I was really happy to see many of the Hawaiian friends and joining us, our group. This is always so fantastic to help so many different people that join us from all over the world to talk about. So anyway, a lot of people thought, oh, I know about triglyceride, but I asked any more different, deeper questions. They ever say, well, is this some kind of cholesterol? Yes, in some ways true. But what have you to affect you on the pre-diabetic diabetic conditions? And then people would go say, I don't really know. So that's why I want to talk about triglyceride, because it is part of a very important part of your diet and so forth. So before we start that, I want to just catch up because we're a lot of new people comes in. So get them real quick in 5 minutes, let them understand what is diabetes so they can really can protect themselves. I know it's kind of repetitive, but more you talk about it, more you can remember. So that's the key. 今日各位同學，好多人問咧，佢話triglyceride 咩三酸甘油脂係乜嘢嚟㗎？係咪係一種嘅膽固醇啊？啱嘅，但係對你嚟講，對糖尿病病者有乜嘢即係影響咧？咁呢個其實好重要嘅即係項目你要了解嘅。咁其實亦都可以咧。因為你嘅工作可以能夠降低你個原來 triglyceride 喎，哇咁鬼正，咁你一定要知啦 ，OK？ 咁但係我嘥5分鐘咧講講我哋依家好多糖尿病者開始點解會有糖尿病咧？嗱，記住糖尿病永遠唔好嘅，只係你控制嘅啫。你控制咧，一定將你個糖尿病，譬如你 A1C 就全部人都係度 A1C 噶啦，就降你 A1C 跌到去 under 6.4，唔好7就係停咗喺度啊，一定降6.4。咁點降咧？就一定要唔好食白粉啦，唔好食糖有糖嘢就個 carbs 啦。咁其實咧食少啲啊，應該係咁即係 juice 所有白粉嘅東西都要戒啦。咁同埋咧最好飲去糖茶，去糖真係有幫助嘅。So 因為點解咧？因為糖尿係影響你全身所有嘅所有血管，所以呢個係一個好重要嘅東西。So very important. Why I keep preaching this, because people tend to forget, or if they forget that now more you say it again, they can remember. Diabetes actually affect your entire body blood vessels, entire body, your brain, your heart, everything. That's why we gotta somehow take control, because you will never get well, only can control. So if you can control, you can able to let your A1C, many of them from 10, keep driving down to 7, and eventually you get down to 6.4, and you have to go all the way to 5.7. So very important, you have to keep having that target to drive below 6.4. Now, to do that, you have to control. Diabetic and pre-diabetic is the same thing. You have to control your blood sugar. How do you control blood sugar? Basically, is one, you have to have dieting. And dieting, you have to take low-carb diet. You have to cut off all the white powder, meaning, like, for example, what does white powder mean? Like rice, anything, bread with white powder flour, all those are called white powder. So you have to cut that off. So, or you get very little taking that of that, so you can control your blood sugar and your juice and things like that. You got to make it to very minimal. And certainly with that, you also need to exercise. You have to have weight control. You have to measure your blood sugar by pricking your finger. You have also listened to webinar like today, so you can have better understanding what you need to do. Certainly drinking Lowsutea, definitely Lowsutea can help you lower your blood sugar. If you drink it at least 6 cups a day, and will lower your cholesterol, and you also lower your salt. So net result, you also improve your blood pressure. So 3 high, you can able to achieve that. Now, everybody goes through this in the sense that in cholesterol, first, the cholesterol goes up. Now, that's why we talk a lot about cholesterol, because your LDL cholesterol goes up, and then what happened is you're going to start damaging your B cells from the pancreas. So when damaged, that the B cell will not take the sugar into the cells anymore. And when it continue goes up, your sugar also damages your B cells. So both items will damage the B cells. So more and more, you're going to have more and more insulin resistance. Now, with the sugar and the cholesterol mixed together, your blood becomes thick and start forming plaques everywhere, the entire body. Wow, that is where the major damage is going to be. There's going to be plaques everywhere, damaging your brain, damaging your heart, damaging your kidney, everywhere. And then also the nerve system will be damaged. That's why I said this is so damaging. And some professor was telling me this is actually worse than COVID-19. Okay, that's what they claim. And I think that's it, because you affect your entire body. The third stage will come is you don't do anything, you never change your diet, you don't exercise. Next step is your A1C will start going up from 5.7 all the way down to 6.4. Once, and usually in 3 years, if you don't do anything, you will convert to a diabetes. And thereafter that, that's it. End game. You continue have to be a diabetes forever, rest of your life. So that's why I keep educating, hope that you don't move into that stage. 嗱，各位朋友，記住糖尿病咧，首先咧就係 LDL 膽固醇高 up， 咁高 up 咗之後咧，咁佢就即係將嗰啲B cells 係胰島素出嚟嘅 B cell 咧，係帶啲糖入嘅細胞咧，就等佢能夠唔 work 嘅，咁佢開始有抗拒啦。糖上去又係會 damage B cell， 咁兩方面加埋咧。都係令到胰島素唔 work 嘅，咁就變咗你繼續嘅胰島素抗拒一個所謂嘅 insulin resistant。第二個 stage 咧就係因為胰島嗰個膽固醇再加你嘅血糖，就令到血好結，咁就開始咧 form 好多血塊 plaques all over the place。咁呢啲咁嘅班血塊咧，硬塊血塊咧，就令到你成身都係喎。咁所以咧，所有 organ 都 affect 到啊，依個先大問題啊。所以話係咪？你一定要注重咧，咁呢樣嘢嘅時候，多數呢個機會咧，你血壓就會上升。第3個 stage 咧，就你咩都唔做啦，繼續係食嘅一樣咁樣咧，咁你個 A1C 一路慢慢會上嚟嘅。咁 A1C 上嚟咧就係變咗咩啊？就係你會由 A1C 5.7去6.4。嗱，3年後你乜嘢都唔做，多數咧就轉咗去糖尿病病者。個個人 go through the stage. That's why I want to make sure everybody remember these 4 stages. Make sure you know if you are pre-diabetic, you better start acting to prevent yourself to get into diabetes. Okay. Now, one thing good about we have a solution for you, because if you are pre-diabetic, there's really no medication for you to take. And they say, okay, just change diet. You might need some additional booster. So that's why we have guava leaves that block sugar into the vessel, because after eat, sugar will go into the vessel, absorb, but guava will block it. And the bitter melon will also act like an insulin. Remember, we'll have insulin resistance. We'll give you like the insulin booster, take sugar into the cells. One more good stuff. Bitter melon also takes sugar, salt, and your cholesterol out through the urine, dump it out. So you lower your cholesterol, your urine, cholesterol, sugar, and salt from the urine. So your blood pressure also come down because you're less salt. So again, this is how Lowsutea do it. 嗱，退糖茶好簡單咧，有兩樣嘢啫，一個係番石榴葉就 block 啲糖入血管裏邊，苦瓜就帶啲糖，好似胰島素一樣帶啲糖入去細胞裏邊。仲有苦瓜可以將啲糖咧由個血管尿道嗰度掉出嚟，咁所以變咗咧你糖 cholesterol 同埋呢個鹽都掉咗出嚟咧，咁你血又降低啦，糖又降低啦，膽固醇又低啦，所以呢個係一個好正嘅東西，係100% natural， 唔係藥嚟嘅。咁所以你飲多啲都唔怕，但係唔做嘢點啊 ？If you don't do anything, what is the end result? Now the sad part is it affects, as I said, the entire body. So you potentially have stroke, loss of memory, cataract. Matter of fact, I have another client just come back and say, "Well, Andrew, I cannot see anymore. Am I having short-sighted?" And a young guy, 40-something years old. I said, "Well, maybe you should check it out." And the doctor came back and said, "Look, you have diabetic glaucoma, and basically you can only control it, cannot reverse." Really sad. One eye got blurred, and then you look at the eye, you can see all the plaque going out. Wow, a lot of cholesterol stuck, and you know, look at the eye, you can see it. You know, so maybe I can actually send you guys Dr. Jane Young's seminar so you can get an idea. She's very happy to do one more webinar sometime in, I think, end of February. So make sure you have that. And on top of that, you're going to have potential heart attack, stroke. Wow, that would be terrible. Heart attack, 40 to 60% diabetic patients have heart attack because of the diabetes. And then this is even a bigger problem, nerve damage, where you can lose your memory. One of my clients, 70 somewhat years old, when they woke up, cannot recognize the husband. And the husband was so desperate. He said, "Andrew, how can my wife don't remember me? I have married for 40 somewhat years." You know, I mean, you know, they're just totally shocking, you know. Blood pressure goes up, amputation, if you injure, you go cut your foot, diabetic nephropathy, your kidney get damaged, and 30% of people have no sex because the nerve damage. That's why they cannot feel. And really sad, you know, that's why you got to really protect yourself. 嗱，如果你乜嘢都唔做咧，你血糖高咧，你就好多併發症出現咧，就好中風啦、眼嗰個青光眼啦、糖尿病嘅胰臟會損壞啦、唔喐啦、唔 work 啦，即係胰島素唔得，咁你又繼續要做注射自己胰島素啦，或者有呢個 heart attack 嘅風險啦。仲有神經損毀，呢個先最容易嚴重嘅，因為好多人係直情唔記得嘅，忽然間唔記得喎，唔係一路，亦都慢慢又唔記得。但係好多有時忽然間唔記得就更加慘。好似我有個客人咁，佢忽然間起身，老公唔記得咗啊，即係咁講啊。咁同埋咧就有血壓高啦，最弊咧就有啲要洗腎啦，就係一啲嗰啲整傷嘅腳咧唔好嗰啲，仲要割埋隻腳，真係陰公啦。咁30%咧係冇呢個性功能，因為佢冇 feel， 冇感覺啊。OK， so our company is very simple. We basically really want to hold your hand throughout this diabetic journey. Hopefully, with all the things we do, we can able to help you to understand what is diabetes, help you to understand better about how to prevention from pre-diabetic to diabetes. So first thing, we want to help you to lower your blood sugar. So if you're pre-diabetic, you won't become a diabetes. If you're diabetes, we'll help you to not get diabetic complication. And we can really achieve that. Many of our clients actually from high A1C drop down all the way to what? Oh, wow, 5.7. They don't believe themselves. And they can continue to maintain. Some of them even go as low as 5.2. I was so shocked because they beat me big time. So it's okay. And that is so important. But they are very careful. They actually very careful of the dieting. They're very careful on the blood tracking. They're very careful on the weight. They're very careful on the things they do, activities, exercise. They're really in a good regime, better than me. And guess what? Their blood sugar is really good. They really truly become remission. And so they drink Lowsutea, you know, 6 to 8 times a day, and they're really religiously drinking Lowsutea. That's super. So they have to exercise. They have to have really every day have 10,000 steps a day. Their weight control. They listen to our webinar. And the key is they always blood tracking, so they know every day where they're at the blood track. Now, our objective is to lower your A1C from 10% to 5.7% below, if we can do that. And that is also your target. So we are going together, holding your hand throughout this journey. OK， 嗱，我哋公司好簡單，我哋其實最緊要咧就幫助你哋咧係降低你血糖咧。如果你係前期患病嘅，我希望你繼續將你 A1C 到5.7，咁你就唔會變糖尿病病者啦。如果糖尿病病者，亦都可能有 A1C 10以上嘅跌翻落去咧，你個糖尿係5.7以下或者係6以下啦，最低限度。咁你可能夠飲去糖茶啦，我哋教你 exercise 啦，教你去點 weight control 啦，即係磅數控制啦、講座啦，同埋咧每日 track 你血糖咧，令到你更加係即係一個健康嘅血糖水平咧，咁能夠你咧就啲血管唔塞啊，咁你繼續身體健康，哇，真係幾正啊 ！So now we're going to talk about what we're trying to do and why this is an important seminar for everybody to understand. So triglyceride, I thought a lot of people understand, but actually they don't. So I would like to go through what is the triglyceride first, so get some idea. Now, as you know, a lot of people know about high cholesterol is no good for them. But you know, high cholesterol, it is a precursor of diabetes. And if you have high triglyceride, guess what? You will always have high cholesterol. So this is all work together. So you basically, if you're high triglyceride, you most likely have a risk of diabetes. You also have a risk of heart attack. You have a risk of stroke. And also your whole body most likely have some kind of inflammation because high cholesterol, high sugar, it causes the body inflamed. So your body organ will be also inflamed. Your pancreas probably inflamed. And you know, pancreas is actually work with what? Your insulin. Wow, my goodness. So you don't want to screw that one up. That organ screw up might not be good for you because that will help you, will screw up our insulin production. And really, triglyceride, how does it get there? It mainly on the dieting, because if you eat a lot of things that is not good for you, you will also increase your triglyceride big time. But there are other factors also affect your triglyceride. So today, you will learn a lot about that, and we'll go through that to help you better understanding what is triglyceride. It will be a really good educational webinar about how you better understand it. It's very simple, and it will be good for you. 嗱，各位好多時咧，高膽固醇咧係第一係糖尿病先兆。頭先講咗啦，你4部曲啊，第一步就係你膽固醇上去，然後加埋糖咁啊，令到你啲血管硬化，然後又好多plaque 係咪？咁講咗咯，咁係一個警號嚟嘅。當你有呢樣嘢嘅時候咧，你最弊咧就係呢個咧唔係淨係糖尿病嘅發展，第二咧會有心臟嘅發展，有 stroke 嘅發展，即係有個中風。咁同埋咧，你可以全身咧都發脹咁嘅喎，即係有 inflammation 喎。咁亦都會 affect 咗你個咩啊？你個胰臟啊，因為你胰臟嘅時候咧，呢個胰臟好重要係咩啊？係 form 呢個 insulin 噶嘛。咁如果你臟壞，整個胰臟壞咗咪好弊。咁仲有啦，原來咧 triglyceride 係你個 food intake 係會好 affect 嘅，但係亦都有好多嘢咧令到你 triglyceride go up 嘅。所以咧，我哋呢個咧係今日更加俾你多啲解釋乜嘢叫做 triglyceride。咁呢個 set webinar 對你會好有幫助。咁你以後咧就知道啊，原來咁嘅叫有問題嘅。咁我幾大都唔做咁多呢啲嘢去令到 triglyceride go up 啦。嗱，其實老實講，好多人都唔知道，唔係淨係你唔知道，所以唔緊要。今日知道，今日做好緊要。OK。Now, what is triglyceride basically? Now, triglyceride is a type of fat or lipid found in your blood. Basically, how you get that is really by eating. And they converted this from calories. When you don't use it up, they will store it in triglyceride. And they will store it in the fat, store it in your fat cell. And later on, you can use it like an energy to pump it out later if you need it, okay? So triglycerides are stored in the fat cell. and later release from the triglyceride as energy when you need it, like between meal or whatever you need it. This is what triglycerides are about. So it mainly come from food. So you gotta keep that in mind. Now, 好多人唔知道咩嘅三甘酸油脂啦。咁原來三甘油脂咧係一種係脂肪嚟嘅。咁呢啲脂肪咧係食嘢嗰度攞出嚟嘅。咁食咗之後咧，佢就將呢啲卡路里咧唔用之後咧，就轉咗佢做三酸甘油脂。咁當你要需入咗去個細胞裏邊，咁當你要需要嘅時候咧，佢又放翻出嚟咧做你嘅能量，好似電油一樣 ，OK 一個 storage tank，OK。咁所以咧，其實 triglyceride 係重要嘅。咁但係你亦都唔可以太多啊，因為太多咧就將你個成個勢頭改變咗佢喎，所以變咗要小心呢樣嘢啦。So can you guys take a picture because that will help you to understand what is the borderline triglyceride? What is the normal triglyceride? Now, keep in mind, in the US, if your triglyceride is 150 or less, so you are in normal. 150 milligram per deal is the normal figure. Now, in Hong Kong or in UK, is 1.7 millimole per liter. 1.7 is your sort of a normal, anything less than that is normal. So you gotta know. So you gotta take a picture first so you understand the number. Now, if you are over 150 to 199, so you are borderline high already. Or in Hong Kong is 1.8 to 2.2. So if you are high, and I saw a lot of people high as the whole of 200 or 400, and matter of fact, there was a client just told me it was 2.5 to 5.6. The doctor then right away said, oh, wow, you really need medication. And so basically, you don't want to put yourself in this range. Anything from 200 or 500, you really want to control, or from 2.3 to 5.6, or anything above 5.6, you better have to take some aggressive thing to control yourself. Because with that, you continue to go up, everything will goes up. So best is cut yourself into this range, the green range. So take a picture and you do that. 嗱，記住你一定要做你個三酸甘油脂咧，係低過 1.7 個 millimole per liter。1.7 ，OK。如果高過 1.8 咧，你已經係叫 borderline high， 即係已經高啦。如果你更加高 2.3、2.6 咧，尤其是高過 5.6 更加高，其實咧呢度咧好多人咧已經係食緊藥㗎啦。咁所以咧你一定要開始知道。咁你可以影張相啊，記住影張相可以就俾個 idea 嚟先。So a lot of people may ask, well, what is triglycerides? The difference between triglyceride and cholesterol? What is the difference? Now, keep in mind, cholesterol is the unused calories provide for the body energy, right? You don't use, they store this triglyceride into the cells, right? And they can release it later on. Cholesterol also build the cells, and build cholesterol need to build the cells, and also build certain hormone for the cells. And triglyceride, the sad part is when you have too much triglycerides, they start thickening the artery wall. It's called arteriosclerosis. Just think about thickening artery wall. So artery wall become thickened and it will plug up. And net result, when they plug up all these, vascular wall, getting all the fats around here, now you're going to have an issue, because what's going to happen is, blood is going to have difficulty going through. So you're going to risk of like heart attack, heart disease, and certainly high diabetes. When it's very high, is all damage your pancreas. And pancreas is for your insulin. So if you are damaged pancreas, they don't pump out anymore enough insulin, that will be really tough. On top of that, when you have high triglyceride, is always a sign of your diabetic or pre-diabetic. And usually people say, wow, you have high triglyceride. You really all related to diabetes, okay? And when you are diabetic, you always have, usually you're going to come with high blood sugar, high blood pressure. And a lot of time, all these people have high weight, which is obesity. And certainly with that, when you see that person, you know this person might have a chance of high risk of heart attack because they're overweight, a lot of fat plugging into the sugar. And so that result, you know this person is in a marker that you better start doing something. If not, you know, 5-6 years from now, you might actually end up dying of a heart attack. So that's not good. Now, there are other items which is also increased triglyceride. Could be thyroid hormone, you know, thyroid here that affect hormone, and also there's some sort of genetic. And so we can talk about that later. But major thing is actually come from food. Okay, so important is triglyceride. Once it is stay in the cell, continue to build up, then it will plug up all the sugar. So that's the major difference. Now, triglyceride 咧係如果你啲卡路里唔用得晒，佢就 store 咗喺個 fat 喺個 cell 上，喺個 fat cell 當係一個 fat cell 喺個高油咧，肥高油裏面咧，咁就喺全身都有嘅喎。咁越多咧就越弊啦，因為整咗之後咧，你嗰啲 triglyceride 嗰啲肥油啊，講嚟肥膏啊，就全身嘅血管咧都放晒喺血管裏邊咧，就開始硬化啦。咁當你硬化嘅時候咧，呢個咧就會另外一個症狀出嚟咧，就你會有即係 potential 咧，有中風啦，亦都有心臟病啦，亦都會一個係好明顯嘅，一定會係糖尿病嘅新發展啦。咁因為咁嘅情況下咧，因為佢令到嗰個胰臟都會脹大啦，會唔係即係會 inflame 啦，即係發炎咁啦。咁亦都 affect 咗你個胰島素嘅生產嘅。咁變咗嚟講咧，你如果有咁高嘅triglyceride 咧，有個三酸甘油脂咧，多數咧就係你嘅前期嘅糖尿病發作，或者你已經係糖尿發作，所以兩方面都有睇到呢樣嘢嘅。第二樣嘢 most likely 咧都會有高血糖啦，亦都有高嘅血壓啦，亦都係肥胖啦，呢嘢全部係令到你咩啊？高機會有心臟病，咁變咗嚟講咧，你唔淨止 diabetes， 仲有心臟病一齊，哇！真係好弊啦。咁所以你一定要做嘢咯喎。咁同埋咧，仲有咧有一個方案咧，就係好多時咧就係因為你個thyroid 啊，你會係有問題咧，或者你係有個 genes， 即係你個genes 咧就你個遺傳嘅東西啦。甲狀腺咧兩樣嘢做得兩樣嘢唔妥咧，都可能令到個 triglyceride go up 嘅。咁呢個係其他嘅現象啦 ，OK？ 咁所以咧甲狀腺同埋呢個遺傳咧係亦都有個 possibility triglyceride go up 嘅。咁其實好多人有呢樣嘢㗎，記住啊，遺傳啦。So sorry. So high triglyceride level usually come from high cholesterol level. As you know, when you take a lot of food intake and really fat, like for example, if every day I go to eat somewhere in some hamburger stand, every day I take that with a lot of cheese, a lot of French fries, everything is fried. This food intake will most likely be impact my high triglyceride level. And because of the fact that is most likely get you the triglyceride high level up because I don't eat vegetable. I only eat all these big hamburger, big fat French fries, chips, everything is very fat. So that will be one thing that if you want to lower triglyceride, I can tell you, very good first start is forget about all these hamburgers. Eat more vegetable, less red meat. Your triglyceride will for sure go down. I happen to be myself before. I was borderline high, but with diet control, really it brought it down to normal level, right down to normal level. So it really works. And a lot of clients of mine also did the same thing and worked. Now, other factor which you might not think about is stress, lack of sleep can also, get you to have high triglyceride. And plus, drinking alcohol is also other factors to affect your triglyceride goes up. If you don't exercise. Like I have a executive who is only 59 years old, not old, but he is a typical A personality, very aggressive, work very hard, and he's set in the office. You know, you look at him, you know this guy might have a good high triglyceride and high cholesterol because he whole day long, he doesn't move. He stay in the office till 8, 9, 10 years old. I mean, no, so 8, 9 a.m., p.m., evening from day. His tummy was that big, is really big. And he go home by 8, 9 o'clock. And he loved to eat steak. He loved to eat hamburger. He just doesn't control the diet. So, and he doesn't exercise. And he drinks a lot. So this is a typical, very typical person who will have high triglyceride. And sure enough, he has high triglyceride, high cholesterol, LDL was high, more than 3, and his triglyceride was high, more than somewhere in the neighborhood, almost to 500. And other thing is he's stressed, he didn't sleep well. And I noticed he also have a thick neck. So when you look at these people who have all these symptoms, you can basically already tell them, hey man, you really gotta start looking at yourself whether you need to do something. Now, certain other factor will be also other medication like your immunosuppressing, antiviral, anti-psychiatric drug, hormone meds. That sometimes also affect your triglyceride. But food is the major thing. Alcohol, major thing. Stress is major thing. So I just gave you a very typical executive who have that symptom. They are definitely will be very high chances of high triglyceride and also high chances of what? Wow, heart attack, diabetes is right there. 嗱，我有堂友，我有個 client 咧，有個堂友咧，其實就係你見到佢咧，你知道佢都真係好有問題。第一，佢形象點咧？佢有個大肚墩，佢係一個 executive 嚟嘅。佢每晚咧仲有8點鐘、9點鐘放工，即係8點至9點鐘放工啦，我翻去食飯啦。但係佢好中意食咩啊？肉啊 ，steak 啊，好日食牛扒，晚就食大嘅 hamburger。咁啊，日日咧就佢仲有咧，佢有一個習慣就飲下酒。咁啊，飲酒咧，佢話我一定要飲酒，能夠降低嗰啲即係 stress 啊。咁即係話佢好 stressful 啦。咁佢飲烈酒咯喎。咁我頭頭同佢見面嘅時候，哇！你係咪有血糖高㗎？佢唔知喎。呢條頸就好厚嘅。咁變咗嚟講，佢有幾樣嘢嚟知道一定有問題。最後一度就原來知道 high cholesterol、high triglyceride、high blood sugar， 其實佢已經係糖尿病嗰一半㗎啦。咁但係佢就即係未真正度得其實佢7點幾嘅已經去，即係話佢已經上緊去咧，其實已經係糖尿病者。咁但係佢依家係咪出去控制咧？未知道住，佢就啱啱 find out 啫。所以你嘅症狀嚟講，你已經知道咧。如果50幾歲，佢一去到嘅時候咧，可能真係話真係佢咁鬼高嘅時候咧，一有一撞咧就係 heart attack 會死人嘅。咁佢好開心啦，依家只係知道啦，仲喺度，但係佢真係唔知冇症狀喎，只係哇好肥好大隻啊！但係我呢個係一個唔正嘅生活。So my friend who had that characteristic with a big tummy, big fat neck, love beef, don't eat vegetables, don't exercise. You know what? And drink a lot of alcohol. That is a very poor health sign. In the next 5 years, he's going to be in trouble in the sense of really potential high triglyceride. And he was have triglyceride, and he already in diabetic range. So if he doesn't do anything, the chance of he get heart attack can be extremely high. So what other 6 surprise items can really raise your triglyceride? And on top of that, all that, you do something about it. So that was really good. It's not only just diet, but this 6 items, you can definitely do something, okay? The first one is, now, certainly, the first one is genes. So family is really give you some inheritance, and you really can't do much, right? But on the other hand, if you change your lifestyle on this gene, like diet control, you talk to a dietitian, how do you control your diabetes? And then you take a lot more omega-3 fatty acid, and then take extremely low fat diet. You know what? You can actually, even your gene, you can't do much, but you can do something about it to actually lower your triglycerides. So it is definitely wonderful. A lot of people say, hey, my parents gave it to me, or my grandparents, I have nothing to do. Not true, because you can do it. Because you can able to talk to a dietitian, get a special low-fat diet, and then you can also low by take a lot of omega-3, and then net result after changing lifestyle. So with that lifestyle, you include exercise, all good stuff, lower stress, that will actually lower your triglyceride. It happened to me myself. I don't have genes, but I see myself actually done all that works and lower triglyceride. I may have some genes because my mom has high triglycerides, so I'm the same boat like a lot of these people. And so net result, this is something you can do. Now, 如果你有基因嘅問題，好多人就話：喂，基因唔關我事啊！我媽俾我嘅，或者我爸俾我嘅，或者我阿公公阿爺俾我，咁我點做啊？其實唔係，你可以得嘅。點得咧？就第一，或者你同你個即係營養師講講，做一啲好低脂肪嘅食材個 menu 俾你，咁你 follow through 咧，咁你咧係可能降低咗你嘅 triglyceride 嘅。第二樣嘢食多啲叫做 omega-3 fatty acid， 呢個亦都會降低咗你。咁好重要咧，原來喺食材方面咧，控制到咧係降低到你嘅triglyceride， 就唔係話我冇嘢做啊，唔係，你可以有嘢做。OK， 咁 the next thing is simple carbohydrate and sugar. Now, a lot of people don't realize if you do a lot of processed food, okay, and that is really when you have poor diet is always the case of make you to have high triglyceride. And also when you do a lot of excess calories, sugar, and you know what it is? Remember, triglyceride is turn your excess calorie and store that as fat into your cells. So you cut down the excess calorie and excess sugar, so you get less triglycerides, store the fat in the cells, you get it done. So that will be really good. And on top of that, if you can take food, less refined things like, processed sugar and all that white sugar, you cut that off. And that you also decrease your triglyceride. Now, you continue to eat a lot of sugar, yes, you're right, triglyceride goes up. So you would really look at things, take all the not processed food, natural food, a lot of food with fiber, then you can decrease all the risk of triglycerides, right? So very simple. You don't want to take sugar like just regular cereal with a lot of sugar. That's not good. That's going to hurt you down the road. 嗱，好簡單，碳水化合物咧，如果你係唔好食咁多呢啲已經加工嘅食物，加工嘅食物好似 for example 啦，白糖啦、白砂糖啦，或者食好多好肥嘅腸啦，好多香腸啦，同埋食好多呢個碳水化合物嘅東西啦，呢啲係全部係 increase 咩啊 cholesterol 嘅 triglyceride。咁如果你食少啲咧，食翻多啲呢啲係有穀物嘅東西啊，唔係要有已經有加工嘅食物咧，咁你嘅機會咧係 increase 嘅 triglyceride 全部係降低嘅。咁呢個係好重要啊！即係我食多菜啊 ，natural food natural 嘅食物，咁我就 very good 喎。所以咧，你記住係有得做嘅，唔係話哇冇得做啊！嗱，我有個美國朋友咧，佢每日都會食嗰啲咁好甜嘅即係 cereal。當我話俾你，喂，其實你每一年啊，你食係550磅嘅糖啊！如果食咁多。咁佢嚇咗一跳，唔係咁多嘛？諗係喎，有可能喎。咁佢唔食咁多咧，佢糖真係好低。所以你咧就要試呢樣嘢 ，OK？ So don't eat a lot of processed food, and that you decrease the risk. Now, A lot of people don't realize drinking alcohol is truly affect tremendously on your triglyceride, because a lot of time you don't realize when you drink alcohol, as we drink about 6 cans of beer, you're adding calories and you're also adding carbs. And guess what? Those calories will convert. Remember, triglycerides is like a storage tank. So they will, if you don't use this calorie, you'll convert it to what? Going to your cells, fat cells, and convert it to triglyceride. On top of that, when you drink a lot of alcohol, it also increases your LDL cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol, affect your heart. And then you also, when you drink a lot of alcohol, it also impair the breakdown of this fat. So net result, you get more and more fats and more triglyceride and more cholesterol, LDL cholesterol in your bloodstream. So if you limited your alcohol intake, you have chances is lower your high cholesterol. And basically that will be really good. And the key is no alcohol if you can. Or you drink very little alcohol, maybe half a glass of red wine, rather than you drink 6 cans of beer. So that would be a higher, is one of the main major recommendation. You have high cholesterol, high triglyceride, cut off alcohol. Sorry, but that will be the best thing to do. Or drink a little bit only. That will be also good, but not too long. Okay? 嗱。酒咧係一個好大問題，因為酒咧就會增加你嘅咩啊卡路里啊。當你增加卡路里，你嗰啲咩啊 triglyceride 多晒喺個 fat cell 咪使喺個細胞裏邊咯，咁咪變咗一樣又唔正仔咯。咁同埋你再加埋啲碳水化合物啊，再加啲糖啊，咁喺你單裏邊啊，因為你飲酒多數食些少嘢噶嘛，咁變咗咧呢啲嘢加晒落去咧，尤其是最弊咧飲酒咧係增加咗你個 LDL 嘅 cholesterol。LDL 係咪 bad cholesterol 嘅壞嘅膽固醇嚟㗎？呢個咧就 affect 你嘅心臟嘅，同埋咧酒咧亦都防止你嘅個肥嘅breakdown 啊個分解啊脂肪分解係防止呢樣嘢嘅。咁所以咧，如果你個 cholesterol go up，你個 triglyceride goes up，咁你唔好意思啊，真係唔好飲酒，或者飲好少酒，少少紅酒係咁多，唔好飲咁多。A lot of people don't realize sleep also create this issue of high cholesterol and high triglyceride. Now, a lot of people didn't realize if you sleep less than 7 hours, you actually, and you lack of sleep consistently, you actually will increase the risk of diabetes, cardiovascular consequences, high blood pressure, and also obesity. The reason is when you don't sleep enough, your body will become very stressful. And when it's body very stressful, you can actually will make all kind of things. You're going to eat more because you stress. You eat more, you add more calories. You might not even exercise, so you get more fat. All that will affect you. So lack of sleep, you actually get stressed. Now, also, remember my friend who has a thick neck here? What other things that I observed is he has sleep apnea. In other words, his neck is so full and fat, the tongue a lot of time drop down to his trachea, and he cannot breathe. At nighttime, he go stop, and then that is actually can be very, very dangerous if he doesn't get treated as we move on, because it can be a stroke and so forth. So entire thing, if you have sleep apnea, you know what can happen? It actually increase your triglyceride, LDL, cholesterol, and then you also have risk of stroke and cardiovascular disease. So this not only sleeping about 7 hours every day, not more, not less, but able to make sure that you don't have sleep apnea, that will definitely help you to, because when you have pump forcible air inside us, when you sleep apnea, you buy this CPAP machines and you get forced air inside. You always have good air inside. the next day you will feel more energetic. You will not have problems, potential stroke. Like last time we talked about, possible stroke is, sleep apnea is one of the causes. So you want to eliminate that and also get you over, you'll be well-being much better. Now, what happened? You sleep too much, like 10 hours or more. Well, that's the problem. If you sleep more, you also increase your triglyceride. The reason is most likely when you sleep too much, maybe your sleep is actually poor quality. And net result, the next day, you will have very tired. On top of that, when you sleep 10 hours or more, most likely you have less physical activities. And net result, because less physical activity, so your blood cholesterol and triglyceride goes up. And so you really need to basically not oversleep. Now, you need to relax and sleep. How do you relax and sleep? Read a book. Sometimes people listen to music, get them to be tired. That is some of the way you got to get your sleep. So every day, make sure between 7 to 8 hours, that's the range of sleep, but not to overly sleep like 10 hours. Make sure check whether you have apnea. You got apnea, you got to go to the doctor and check yourself out to make sure this is being treated with a CPAP machine. And you know what? I found just recent data. If you are overweight with BMI over 30, 80% of these people have a sleep apnea problem. Imagine the market is very big if you are overweight, okay? And many of people don't know. And when, especially your husband or your wife, starts snoring and stop middle of the night and continue to snore real loud, you better ask your wife or husband, hey, can you go see a doctor? Make sure you check out, are you a sleep apnea? If you're sleep apnea, that has to be treated because they increase your triglyceride, LDL, and potential cardiovascular and stroke, okay? So you gotta be careful of that, okay? 嗱，睡眠咧好特別，每一個人咧都係需要幾多啊？最少要7至8個鐘頭睡眠。如果少過咧，你就開始有 stress 嘅，即係有即係好多嘅壓力啦。咁而其實呢個咧增加你個咩糖尿病嘅風險啦、高血壓啦、心臟病啦，同埋多數肥。當你唔夠瞓嘅時候咧，你會係食多啲嘢嘅，會食 chips 啊，乜嘢都食啊，咁更加增磅啊，又唔做 activity exercise 啊。咁同埋仲有一樣嘢咧，你睡眠窒息性咧，好多時咧就係呢個好肥，多數睇到或者你夜晚瞓覺咧好大聲，鼻鼾好大聲。咁咧好多時呢啲咧就係個症狀咧，你一定要注重嘅。如果你鼻鼾好勁，忽然間索下，忽然間停咗嘅，咁你咧就或者你先生或者你太太兩方面咧，你都話俾喂要去睇下醫生，因為睇下你係咪睡眠窒息症。因為睡眠窒息症咧係會幫助你增加你嘅三脂油高啦，仲有你嘅 LDL 高啦，咁仲有咧就有機會有 heart attack 啦。同埋咧係會增加咗你另外一個問題咧就係咩啊？係呢個中風啊，所以呢個係要重視嘅。嗱，如果多過10個鐘頭瞓覺咧，唔係好嘅嚟㗎，因為多數咧男士如果瞓多過10個鐘頭咧，佢 triglyceride 都高嘅，仲比女士高啲嘅。咁其實咧有可能咧，因為你睡眠唔係一個好嘅 quality， 即係唔係一個好質量睡眠咧，所以你瞓覺瞓得好長好長。咁其實咧你一定要咧。係瞓得好啦。如果你瞓得唔好咧，你多數日頭攰啦，同埋咧你冇精神咧，同埋你唔瞓得好咧，多數你唔會喐咁多噶啦。咁你嘅 blood lipid 咧，即係你個血嘅血脂肪咧，一定要繼續高嘅。咁其實點能夠令到好瞓覺咧？咪讀下書啦，聽下音樂啦，令到你更加黑啲嘅地方啦，咁令到你瞓覺好自然舒服啊。咁so very important. Good quality sleep is good important. Now, if you have obstructive sleep apnea, most likely the chances of you the next day, you also feel very tired. I used to have a staff who have obstructive sleep apnea. Every day, he looked like he's falling apart in the morning. He's already put his head down. He cannot concentrate. It's really sad. So I advise him to say, hey, why don't you get one of the CPAP machine? Once he got that, wow, he's alive, okay? So this is something that you guys need to check. Okay, make sure you get a doctor to get you to treat it with a CPAP, analyze that you a CPAP. Okay, so now stress is one item which also get you to eat more, drink more alcohol, eat more carbs, and all that will increase your triglyceride. Now, if you are chronically stressed, you always in stress all the time, your body will start inflame. You cannot have ability to clear all your fat out, and then your liver will continue to produce more LDL, bad cholesterol, forming plaque all over arteries. And then you know what? You're going to increase your heart attacks complication, cardiac risk, and your diabetic complication goes up. Because when you have high LDL, your bad cholesterol, your heart will be coming along bad. And then you really need to try your best how to lower your stress reduction. Like, for example, you have to exercise, you have meditation, yoga, 30 minutes. And then a lot of time, I found that it's important to talk to your friends and relative, or talk to whoever that you're close to, and make sure that you talk to them, share your problem, or your unhappiness, whatever you have to have someone to talk to, because they're a social being. And plus, you need to have that physical activities like walk 1 hour, 30 minutes at least, so you can release that stress. So that becomes a very important step to help you lower your stress. So net result, you will become a better person to will lower your triglyceride. 壓力咧係會增加你咧個機會咧去食嘢。當你有壓力嘅時候，你會食咩啊？哇！我食糖啊，食 chips 啊，或者食啲碳水化合物啊，即係啲咁嘅小食嘅東西咧，係令到你會增磅啦，又令到你 triglyceride goes up 啦，全部咧呢啲係唔正仔嘅。所以咧，如果有壓力嘅話咧，你一定做嘢去做咩咧？就能夠令到你咧係唔會有咁多壓力咧，就去或者去做下每日嘅瑜伽啊，或者減壓嘅運動啊，同親友啊或者朋友傾下偈啊，能夠放低啲壓力，同埋咧做下30分鐘嘅行啦，去 shopping mall 行下啦，見下其他嘢啦，咁你能夠咧就降低壓。如果唔係咧，當你成日有好多長嘅 stress 嘅話咧，弊啦，你個成身咧都會係發脹發炎咁嘅。咁同埋咧，當你係要好多壓力嘅時候咧，你個肝咧會繼續做啲壞嘅 cholesterol 出嚟。咁然後咧壞嘅咧成身都標你個 plaque， 即係成身標咗啲咁嘅壞嘅 cholesterol 咧去咗你好多呢個血管嘅斑片裏邊咧，令到血管硬化啦。同埋塞啦，咁變咗最後咧，你就係咩啊？心臟病嘅風險啦，同埋糖尿病嘅風險啦，呢啲係全部唔正使，所以記住一定要將你個壓力降低。So if you are overweight, as I said, my client, the example person who have fat neck, big tummy, he loved to eat a lot of steak, hamburger, those kind of stuff. And he's definitely overweight, you have to really go to ability to lower your weight, because you're overweight, you actually have difficulty to move that sugars away. Your carbs continue up, and that all that lead, because remember the carbs, extra carbs is what? Get your triglyceride up and go into a fat cell. So when your carbs goes up, guess what? Your high cholesterol goes up. High cholesterol goes up, your triglyceride also goes up. So you really have to try your best to lower your body weight. And with that, you also lower your triglyceride. It really works, especially with a big tummy. And the way to do that is you can make sure you work with a barbell, walk around. You can say, I don't know how to work. Hey, you can just get a step master, and this little thing, it stays the same thing. It costs you $50 US and $300 Hong Kong. You get a step master with 2 barbell, and just go up and down, walk like this. And then you do half an hour. You know what? You burn 300 calories. 1 hour, you burn 600 calories. So you can do that. You definitely do that. And you can also diet, exercise, you limit on excess calorie. Guess what? You burn the calorie, you also go bring your triglyceride down. So very important, keep good nutrition diet with a healthy lifestyle and decrease your weight because you exercise, you burn extra calorie or burns up, then you will be extremely good, eliminate your triglyceride. 嗱，各位同友，超重咧就好大劑啦，因為咧超重咧，你啲糖嘅喺度啦，啲 carbs 嘅喺度啦，卡路里嘅就喺度啦，咁就 convert 晒去 triglyceride。所以咧，你千祈唔好繼續超重。咁同埋咧，仲有咧，當你超重嘅時候咧，你係好難咧maintain一個好健康生活喎，你咁鬼重啊，呢個腳有affect你腳啦。咁其實好重要嘅一樣嘢咧，就唔好食咁多嘢，要降低你嘅食量，同埋咧要 eliminate 嗰啲 extra calorie。咁啊點解要做 exercise 咯？exercise 咧有一個就好啦，揾個 barbell 兩個咁行。你揾個 step master， 有叫做 step master， 香港買300蚊一個嘅啫。你喺屋企咧係咁行，咁連你出街都唔使行啦，一路睇電視一路做呢樣嘢都得嘅。有好多人話：哇唔出到街喎，唔緊要，買個 step master， 再買個 barbell， 你日咁做，每日做30分鐘，你就降低300個卡路里，1個鐘頭就600卡路里，好簡單。咁你嗰陣時咧，你可以睇電視嚟做都得㗎，因為呢個得嘅地方係咁大隻㗎咋。咁你可以做呢樣嘢個 step master， 咁你就可能 burn 啦卡路里咧。就 burn up 嗰啲 triglyceride， 咁你變咗能夠有好嘅食材啦，仲要你 exercise 啦，呢個好生活咧就降低個 triglyceride。So in summary, you gotta understand high cholesterol is a precursor of diabetes, and often it also show that you elevate your triglyceride, and when you put high triglyceride level, you also have risk of diabetes, heart attack, stroke, and certainly with the inflammation all over the body organ, it also affect your pancreas, that which will come out to make insulin, that also suppress that or affect your insulin production, or a lot of insulin resistance. So 6 other reasons that will further increase your triglyceride, but there's something you can do. So the first one is genes, right? Even though you have high genes of triglycerides, it doesn't matter. You have low carb, low fat diet, you can actually prevent your triglyceride go up. And don't eat a lot of processed food, like for example, white sugar. Those are all considered processed food, or big sausages, high fat item. Get a lot of vegetable, less processed food. That will eliminate that. Alcohol will be another choice, where you don't drink 6 cans of beer, you drink a little bit. If you have high triglyceride, high cholesterol, guess what? You have to eliminate alcohol, because high alcohol intake will actually also create your chances to create more LDL cholesterol, which will affect your heart and affect your diabetes also. Sleep, you gotta have 7 to 8 hours sleep. Too much sleep, actually, maybe your sleep quality is not good. More important, your sleep, you have to ask yourself, do you have such a thing called apnea? When you're apnea, your thick throat over here blocking your breathing, you actually have chances of getting your heart attack and also stroke. So you have to examine. If you're snoring very loud and you're overweight, you better start watching that. You have to decrease your stress, because if you don't decrease your stress, that is the issue that will come along. And stress, you're going to start eating a lot, you add on more calorie, you add on more triglyceride. And then you have overweight. Now, overweight is another issue, because when you're overweight, guess what? You have more calories that mean more triglycerides, right? So in order to burn off those calories, you have to exercise. You have to cut down the diet. To get that, it's very simple. You can able to do this exercise like this, and you can also to continue to go on a step master, or you can go walking. It's the same thing, but you gotta do that. 嗱，各位堂友，我哋依家咧就講個 summary 摘要啦。第一， 膽固醇上去嘅時候咧，同埋你個三酸甘油上咧，就係多數咧就係一個症狀咧，糖尿病嚟緊㗎啦。如果你嘅糖有繼續上去咧，咁你其他嘅症狀一定繼續嚟啊，好似心臟病啊、中風啊呢啲。咁你一定要係繼續咧，將你個三酸甘油脂咧係降低佢嘅。咁點降啊？好簡單，降咧就 basically 第一譬如你係你個基因嘅問題啦，要食到 low fat diet 啦，低脂肪嘅食物，要冇食乜有低嘅碳水化合物，要食啲 simple carbs 啦，唔好食嗰啲 processed 嘅 food 啦，即係唔好食啲白砂糖啊嗰啲嘢啦。咁同埋咧唔好飲酒啦。如果你係 high cholesterol 嘅酒嘅弊家伙啦，因為酒咧就會更加令到你個肝咧做多啲 LDL 出嚟嘅。咁呢壞嘅 cholesterol 出嚟咧，弊啦，你就會 end up 咧就心臟病啦。睡眠咧係7至8個鐘頭，尤其是你個肥頸好肥嘅時候咧，你可能有睡眠窒息症，咁你快去睇醫生，可唔可能夠俾個機你每日瞓覺時俾啲氧你？如果唔係咧，但係你好攰啦，同埋咧越整咧，你係睡眠窒息差嘅話咧，會令你中風啦、心臟病啦，壓力要減低啦，要做 exercise 啦。咁如果你係好重嘅話，哇，咁你就要真係降低你嘅重磅，咁先係能夠令到你一個身體更加健康，唔會令到你咧係會個人咧係會好即係你一定要 exercise。減低嘅個卡路里，當你減低卡路里之後咧，你自然咧就會令到你咧係幫助你呢個卡路里降低，你個 triglyceride 亦都會降低嘅。Okay, so today, thank you very much for attending my webinar. I wonder anybody have any questions? I'd love to answer your questions. Okay, so yeah. Actually, one of the questions that they'll ask, cholesterol and triglyceride control guidance seem to be similar. Well, that is correct, because if you lower your cholesterol, your triglyceride will eventually also come down. So, you know, that is like hand in hand. So, you know, and again, I would say if you if you tend to have good how should I say good control your cholesterol and your triglyceride, the step is the same, and most likely if you control that, most likely you also will go down together. So both will be actually go down. Now, if I take alcohol, which alcohol is better to moderate drink, I would suggest it's best to do a little bit red wine, not to do a lot of red wine, because if you do little red wine, it will be much better than you drink 6 cans of beer, because beer, you have a lot of calories. As again, with that, when you do that, you know what? Your high calorie will actually create more item to create your triglyceride. So that is not going to be good to you. Now, actually, a lot of time people take alcohol. They said, well, let's see, another question here. Let's see. Okay, how do you need a fasting for triglyceride blood test? What happens when you don't fast? Okay. Well, actually, doing the test of blood test for triglycerides, you do need to have, usually they do it is together with fasting. I think is actually an actual process. Is always good to do blood tests, because they do triglyceride at the same time. Besides cholesterol, they also do your blood sugar. They don't separate that. So if your blood sugar testing is fasting, your triglyceride testing should be also fasting, because with that, hopefully you have a standard test to come out. So unfortunately, when you do triglyceride blood test, usually they don't just do triglyceride blood test. They always do blood tests with fasting with blood sugar and so forth. So I hope that will be answering you that questions. Let's see, what else do you have here? Okay, so I don't know how to answer that. Okay, I think I answered all your questions, right? Okay, how much omega-3 fatty acids recommended? Okay, this is one question is actually interesting because fatty acid has quite a bit of fatty acid that people recommend in typically right now. They have so many different brands, and you really has to look at it like, you know, that could be from so many different brands. You have to look at it more, take a look of the evaluation of the brand, because I found that there's so many brands, it's hard to say which is better than the other nowadays. And so certainly, you know, I think if you look at it and then maybe from the understanding from the brand that you have and look at the valuation, the evaluation, maybe that would be better choice to look at. So I think that would be better to look at that than rather than what is the better recommended, which is better to recommend it. Okay, so I would suggest that. 我首先答翻一啲問題先 ，sorry 第一咧就係有個我哋朋友問啦，佢就話：哇，如果你係 triglyceride 做測驗嘅時候，係咪要唔食嘢晚之前去測驗啊？咁其實咧就好多人咧記住咧係個 blood test 嘅時候咧都係要 fasting 嘅，因為佢係多數度埋咧血糖啊，咁 triglyceride 多數連埋一齊㗎啦。咁所以變咗嚟講咧，呢個就係一個好 standard 嘅東西，咁多數係 fasting 嘅時候你一定要嘅。咁第二個問題咧就係話cholesterol， 即係你膽固醇同埋 triglyceride 個控制係咪都係一樣㗎？咁係一樣嘅，因為咧你如果 low fat diet， 你多數控制到 cholesterol 㗎啦。low triglyceride 就係喺 low fat diet 方面咧，亦都係即係控制晒嘅，所以兩個 guidance 差唔多幾多。如果飲酒係咪會當你係會控制到嘅 cholesterol 咧，或者 triglyceride， 當然一定係。如果你飲酒咧，最好咧就唔好飲好多啤酒，因為包咗好多卡路里啦，卡路里係轉咗佢做 triglyceride 啦。咁最好咧就飲少啲呢啲咁嘅酒。紅酒會 be good， 但係細 amount 嘅，即係好細嘅 amount 嘅。另一個 question 咧，你依家出現市面咧就好多嘅即係omega 3嘅產品啦。咁其實邊隻會係好啲，就係食幾多咧？咁其實呢個咧，我諗最好咧都係要睇翻佢個 bottle 有邊嘢，同埋咧睇翻佢有咩嘅啲客人有咩反應，因為依家太多啊，咁好難講係邊一隻好啲，邊隻唔好啲。咁所以咧我就覺得咧最好都係睇下邊隻係好嘅，同埋就係睇下佢嗰啲 evaluation，OK，即係變咗會係對，即係會係一個會實際啲咯。啲人話食咗邊又好啲就，咁我希望就答晒。So I hope I answered the questions already, and so hopefully that is. Are there any other questions to maybe need to answer? Let's see. How low of a blood pressure is bad? Okay. Another question we have by Gordon. Hi, Gordon. How are you? How low of a blood pressure is bad? Now, 有個問題咧，就係啲人話咩叫 low 低嘅血壓咧 ？As you know, each person's blood pressure is different. Some people can be very normal, have blood pressure would be 80/60, especially athletic, because somehow they continue to did so well. So net result, a lot of these people, blood pressure is very, very low. But that's normal for them. For some people can go as low as I even saw people 60 over 50 is still very normal for them. So, but certainly you don't want to get down too low, like 50. And especially at your age, you're not athletic. You are not, you're just an old person. If your blood pressure dropped down to 60 and your systolic and over 50, then I'm really worried because that is considered low. So there's a couple of things that you want to look at. One, are you a real old person or are you an athletic person? If you're an athletic person, I'm strong and healthy and working real big, I'm always my blood pressure low, then that would be a normal blood pressure for you, 80 over 60. So really depending on what are your condition. But if you're a really old guy, you're very weak and your blood pressure dropped down to normally 120 and drop down to as low as 80 and even 60, then you really got to find out if this person is really have something other different, and you got to really go to hospital to look at, because you don't want him to like possible this guy is actually in a serious health issue. Okay, I hope I answered that. OK， 用中文講先啊。低血壓咧，其實咧有好多人咧，未必係個個係低血壓係唔正常嘅。如果係一個運動家，可能佢低血壓咧係80至60，呢個係上下80，下係60，呢個佢對佢講好正常嘅。有啲人亦都遺傳咧係低血壓對佢嚟講好正常嘅。好似我個father-in-law，佢90幾歲咧，佢成日都係低血壓，但係喐得好好喎。咁佢咧就都係80至60嗰個 range 嘅。但係當佢入醫院嘅時候咧，佢個上壓係60咧，咁你就要小心啦，因為佢已經係有少少真係好多嘢唔妥，所以佢血壓去到60，咁你就要帶佢睇醫生或者急症室，因為佢 blood pressure 太低啦。所以呢個咧係睇係咪老人家或者呢個係健康人啦，佢喐啊冇乜分別嘅問題咧，咁你就要知道佢咧個血壓咧係有咩情況。如果佢老人家佢血壓低到60以下咧，話快睇帶佢入急症室啦，因為呢個係真係唔係妥嘅東西啊！佢平時120嘅，咁呢個要帶入啦。即係個 blood pressure drop 咁緊要係唔正常嘅。OK， so I hope you answer. So Gordon, I hope I answer a question about blood pressure. So what about low glucose level? Now, your glucose level should be somewhere about, matter of fact, I have a chart here. Maybe I hope I will share you my chart so you have some idea what it means low blood sugar level to help you you can take a picture of that actually. Okay, now let me share with you. If your blood sugar level, you should be somewhere maybe about 80, and if you're over 72 milligram per dil, if you are around this area, you already are considered low. Okay, 40 millimole per liter. So if you are below that, then you are basically considered low. So you have to watch when you are low blood sugar level. Now, a lot of people don't know. The reason is, I don't know, you see this, you can take a picture, by the way. Importantly, if you have 72 milligram per dil or 40, you need to start looking for a sign and symptom of low blood sugar, like jittering, alertness, like very uneasy. So you need to have some kind of hard candy on your pocket. If you really get down to too low blood sugar, you need to basically take some sugar. because you have to bring it back up to about 90, somewhere in neighborhood 100. That should be normal range. You should not cut yourself to be always about below 72 or below 4, okay? So I hope that when you start seeing your blood sugar, plug your finger is 4, you are actually in a low range. And most likely, if you start moving down to 3.9, symptoms will start coming in like or 70 or 60. You start getting symptoms of jittering and so forth. Then you need to start taking some kind of sugar pill like hot candy, or drink some orange juice fast. That orange juice is a very good fixer. So these are kind of things that you have to watch yourself, okay? You should not have lower than this kind of range, because that is not healthy for you, okay? 60 and 70 is really your lowest range. But once you get 72, you got to be watched. You got to start thinking, okay, am I getting nervous, jittering? I feel uncomfortable. So you need to check. 有堂友阿 Gordon 咧就問我哋咧乜嘢叫做低糖咧個指數咧？咁其實如果我係已經去到4咧，咁我開始係進入個低糖指數或者3.9啦。咁其實咧你要準備一啲嘢啦，就係你或者有啲所謂叫橙汁啊，或者candy 啊。因為如果你係真係有個低糖嘅時候咧，你就會覺得好 nervous 啦、手震啦、好肚餓啦，呢啲症狀出嚟嘅。咁嗰陣時咧，你就應該要開始飲一啲橙汁啦，將你個糖咧帶翻去5點幾嘅地方，咁就係安全嘅地方，就唔好俾佢喺度繼續 drop 落去咧，3啊嗰啲就唔 good 㗎啦，因為你再低糖你可以暈嘅，咁就唔正仔嘅。So imagine if you get down to 3.3 or rather 6.054, you can be fainted. So that's why once you get down to 4, you gotta be prepared. Make sure that you have some sugar pills in there or candy just ready in case you get too low. Okay. I hope I answered all your questions, and thank you very much for all the nice questions from the team. I appreciate you attend. Any other question? If you have other questions, if you don't have any more questions, then I will basically have a wonderful weekend. Okay, let's see. Another question. Okay. There's one more question that another person asked, and I would like to answer that. I think Edwina asked that question. And the question is that my triglycerides is 40 and my blood sugar is 112. Now, first of all, your sugar is perfect. 112 is good. But your triglycerides is 40 is actually very low. It's good, it's okay, because that shows that you are healthy. It's actually less than 150 is already good. So I would not worry about that, because that's mean you have perfect sugar and perfect triglyceride, meaning your diet is good. So that is actually no problem. It's not problem. It's actually low triglyceride, low sugar, like 140, 112, low sugar and triglyceride 40 is not a problem. So don't worry, you're good health, actually. That's mean that you don't eat a lot of item like a lot of hamburger and things like that. So you're in good diet and you actually walk enough and so forth. So you keep yourself healthy. So this is good. So keep that in mind. This is the normal level. So 有個朋友係夏威夷問嘅，Dwayne 咧就話：如果我個 triglyceride 40個 milligram per deal，同埋我個糖咧血糖112，係咪 OK 咧？咁其實呢個係好正喎。其實咧佢血糖112咧，即係話佢個血糖咧係大概6.7咁上下啫，即係大概6.1、6.2咁上下，6.3啦咁上下啦。咁其實呢個咧係一個好嘅血糖指數啦。同埋個 triglyceride 咧係亦都係一個好指數啦，即係低過1.7嘅 millimole per deal 啦。咁呢個係好嘢嚟嘅，唔使驚。低 triglyceride 冇問題嘅，係唔想高嘅啫。OK，so it's okay, Edwina. It's good to have low triglyceride is actually good for you, good health. Blood sugar is also good, so keep it up, man. Good, and keep eating, good dieting, exercise. Okay. So, are there any more questions? I see any more questions. This I think I answered all the questions. Okay, good. I think I've answered the question. Again, I appreciate all your participation. I took a little more time to answer a question. Sorry, to take a little more time, but actually those questions are very good. I'm so happy that people ask questions, so that will help me to give a little more information out there. 多謝各位堂友，好高興咧，大家問不同嘅問題，有多啲問題，咁先能夠令到我哋個堂咧係好似更加精彩，同埋大家都學到多啲嘢。Okay, so have a nice weekend. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for participating. I appreciate your time joining us. I see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.